Think about estate planning. Even if you don't own a home, this is not just for homeowners, but it is super important. Hey, I'm Christina Brown here with the Brown team at Sage Store Realty. And again, if you don't own a home, you still need to do some estate planning. If you own a car, if you have bank accounts, there's just so much involved. It is not just real estate, but of course, real estate is a very big part of it. This is just meant to give you some information. Keep in mind, I am not an attorney, I am not a CPA, I am not giving legal or tax advice. I am just giving you something to think about, and so you can understand why estate planning is so important. So estate planning, really what it is it is giving you the power and control to determine what happens with your stuff, your money, your decisions, medical decisions, financial decisions, all of those things is encompassed into estate planning. So literally everybody is affected by this, and you want to plan ahead in order for you to have the most control over what's going to happen. So most of us, we want to determine who is going to get our home and our cars and all the things. And if you do not plan ahead, it will not likely go exactly as you hope. So let's dive in. So the first thing is, obviously, real estate is the biggest part of it. So I'll talk about that first. So if you own any property, then you need to consider, number one, what kind of deed do you have? Very simply, most times you go on title on your deed as a single person, a married person, something like that. So if you go on that way and then your status changes later, or you have kids or grandkids and you want certain things to go to certain people or be divided a certain way, you need to plan ahead for that. But you can do something very simple that basically is called a beneficiary deed. And this will at least give you control of, hey, when you pass, it goes to so-and-so. You can name that so-and-so. And it's very simple, but it gives you the least control. And there could be other factors, other family dynamics that you may not think about. And this is where consulting with an attorney that specializes in estate planning can be crucial, because every family has different stories. And if you want to send it to your daughter and she's divorced and you don't want her ex to have it, or you're thinking one day they're going to get divorced, you don't like him, you don't get any of that control when you're just doing a deed. If it goes to her, they're still married, they all get it, right? He does too. Or if you have a child that is disabled, mentally incapacitated, underage, those types of things, you're sending them this property that maybe they shouldn't own yet or have control over. So yes, a beneficiary deed is very basic 101, but it gives you the least control for all of those extenuating circumstances that could possibly come up. It does, however, allow you to avoid probate. So having a deed can get it directly to that person without probate. Okay, the other thing is a will. We hear this all the time from people. Oh, we're good, we have a will. A lot of people don't know and don't understand that a will is a probate document. You have a will, it is definitely going into probate. You are not avoiding probate when you have a will. You are actually encouraging the opposite. And probate is costly because now there's attorneys involved. It's time consuming, so your heirs have to wait for all of that to clear before they can get anything, do anything. So typically a will is not the best answer for really anybody, but it is an option, and it is, like I said, costly, time consuming. And then at the end of the day, you at least do get to direct who gets what, but they are going through the document, determining that based on what documents you have. And anything undecided, they'll just decide who is going to get your things. And then, of course, a trust. A trust, again, all of these you want to consult with an attorney that this is what they specialize in, but a trust gives you more control. So it's similar to a deed as it passes along to whomever you name. But it can also encompass multiple things, not just, let's say, real estate. It can control, you don't want so-and-so to get it until they're 18, or until they're 21, or until they finish college, or you don't want the spouse of your children to have rights to it because you just don't know that they're gonna stay married forever, whatever. Anyways, a trust gives you the ultimate amount of control, more than just who gets it, it's how they get it, okay? So those are the three main basic things when we're dealing with real estate. But estate planning, remember, covers so much more than that. So let's talk about some of those things very quickly. Most everybody will have a car, hopefully, when they pass. I know there's other situations where maybe not. But if you have a car, the most basic thing you can do is when you register that car, all you have to do is tell them at the counter that I want this to go to so-and-so when I die. Whether that's your spouse, your kids, your grandkids, whatever. You just need to give them the names, and they do something right there on the registration that says TOD, or transfer on death. So as soon as you pass away, that car will go to whomever you name. No questions asked. You don't need any other documentation. You literally just have to name your TOD. And so very simple. It doesn't cost you any money. You're at the counter registering anyway. You just have them slip that in that blank while you're there. Very easy. I've done that on all of my vehicles. The other thing, this can actually be very complicated and difficult to deal with if you don't handle it before you're incapacitated or before you pass, and that's your bank accounts. The banks do not make it easy. If your mama passes away and you're in charge of everything, you are jumping through so many hoops to get that sent to you, even if you're named on everything else. So bank accounts is super important. You want to go into your banking institutions and you want to add who your beneficiaries are, who is going to be included and added, and then you can also add that they are a signer on your account, because what happens if you end up in the hospital and you're incapacitated and bills need to get paid and they can't write anything on your account? Very simply, set that all up with the banking institution. So easy. The other thing, if you have life insurance policies, if you have retirement accounts, any of those financial things in place, then you need to also have all of your beneficiaries listed on there. Now that is something that normally when you open them and set them up, you have your beneficiaries placed then. But you need to review this often because life happens, life changes. Maybe who was going to be your beneficiary has passed or they're sick. You don't think they're going to outlive you. I don't know, whatever the case may be. You want to make sure that those are updated periodically. Don't forget about them and just assume that all is good. Make sure you have your beneficiaries on every account and asset and thing that you can think of. Super, super important. And then something, an estate planning attorney that I work with a lot said, now, for all those little items in your house, you don't have to do a will or a trust for. If you have a grandfather clock or this guitar or this painting that's special and jewelry and whatever it is, and you want it to go to certain people, all you have to do is type out a list of what your wishes are, that so-and-so gets this painting and so-and-so gets this guitar, sign it, date it, whatever. Doesn't have to be notarized or anything official, but that's nice, but you also need to make sure that whoever you trust that's going to help make sure everything is done as you want them to be done knows this exists and knows where it is and how to find it, as well as knowing how to access your banking accounts, your retirement accounts, your life insurance, but like all the things, you need to have somebody designated to handle these things for you and that they know where they are and how to access them. Okay, and then the other thing that I have is consider actually meeting with an estate planner. Because no situation is 100% the same for anyone. I know it's money, but it puts you in control and you can decide who gets what. But then there's other things that while you're living, so all the things I've mentioned are once you're dead. Sometimes we might need things put in place for when we're alive. So keep in mind there's things that need to happen if you're alive but maybe incapacitated or sick or whatever, right? So consider a living trust. That's, hey, your wishes while you're alive, a living trust, that's what that is. Or a power of attorney, that is putting somebody specifically in charge of making financial or medical decisions for you should you get ill or incapacitated in some way. Sometimes it's to sell real estate. If you have to go into a nursing home and you have dementia or Alzheimer's, something where you can't sign legal documents, this has to be in place before you get to that point. So there's also things that you should consider to do even while you're healthy and alive, because anything can happen at any moment. But anyways, that's just to give you some advice, just to give you some tips, something to think about. We have some really great estate planning attorneys that we work with, and should you have questions or want a recommendation, reach out. I will gladly give you their information. Happy to help. You all have a wonderful day.